Oh yes, yet another version of Street Fighter 2, among what feels like thousands sometimes. So what is this one? Super Hyper Street Fighter 2 Turbo Championship EX Alpha Plus HD Edition? Alright, well maybe not. And actually, this particular port does have its noteworthy place in the Street Fighter 2 release timeline, being that this was the very first time that you could enjoy a Street Fighter game on the Sega Genesis. So this was back in the fall of '93, over a year after the original Street Fighter II was ported to the Super Nintendo. So it was pretty safe to say that Sega fans at that time were getting a bit ravenous to have their chance in one of the most legendary fighting tournaments in gaming history. So if you're comparing ports, this bears a close resemblance to Street Fighter II Turbo on the Super Nintendo that was released a few months prior. So this was the version that introduced the playable boss characters and also allowed the same character to be selected by both players thanks to different colored outfits, and the awesome adjustable game speed. As far as the game modes and features go between systems, the two games are essentially the same, just with different names. Although the Super Nintendo version did require a secret code to push the speed up to 10 stars, and that's available automatically in the Genesis version. So otherwise, the main difference you'll notice at first here is definitely in the graphics and sound department. When it comes to direct ports of arcade games, the Super Nintendo definitely shows its superior performance in terms of displayable colors, and the Genesis sound chip doesn't quite match up as well with the original arcade soundtrack. It doesn't really detract from the gameplay at all, but it's definitely noticeable. One advantage to the Genesis version, though, is definitely the controls, if you've got the 6-button controller, that is. And you can thank this game for forcing Sega into making it in the first place. And you can definitely tell it was designed with Street Fighter in mind, as the button layout works perfectly for this series. But in the end, Street Fighter II Turbo and Street Fighter II Special Champion Edition play pretty much the same. But there is one other critical difference that's worth noting: the opening intro. Yeah, that's right. If you remember playing the original Street Fighter II in the arcades, this is a sight for sore eyes. Oh man, I don't remember that part. I guess I need to clean out the old cartridge slot. Alright, and don't worry, the game still works and plays great, even though it came all the way from our buddy Muhammad in Qatar. Thanks a ton for the donation, Muhammad. It makes this special champion edition of Street Fighter II even more special. Now, if you don't mind, it's time to crank this game up to 11. Round 1 fight.